Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and a Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's reaction times. Checking out, well, technically we're going to be checking out two tracks, but really it's an intro and one track. This is Brendan's idea. We're looking at the band Selvans from the album Saturnalia and the intro, and then the track that follows it. Now, I am not even going to try to say these fucking names. So, Brendan, please, in your best Italian accent, knock out these two titles.
All right, so we got the intro track, which I'm going to go with Necromilieu, and then the
Yeah?
second track, which is Il Mio Maleficio Vincalcera.
That's not bad. I reckon that's not bad. It sounds good to my ears, and I know I would have butchered the hell
I'd
out of them
imagine
immediately. So,
Italian people would be doing that finger clicking thing at the screen right now when they're angry.
well, either way, I don't. Well, do you know what they mean?
No, I don't. No.
No, I don't know either. I ain't got time to Google it. So you're going to be doing these tracks back to back. So you're getting about 8 minutes of a video overall, or well, music here. Really, it's not a video. We've got a album cover. I presume that's the album cover. If that's
Mhm.
the album cover, that's very cool. I like that. It's quite imaginative. Tell us what we're doing here.
Yeah, so right, Selvans is a project kind of musician, I guess. You know, a couple of albums out. This is the most recent one. It came out right at the end of January, the 31st of January. And if they believe was my first 10 out of 10 of the year.
Hmm.
Um, it may have been. It was definitely it was a 10 out of 10, but whether it's my first or not. So it is Italian. He is Italian. It's all sung in Italian. Everything about it is Italian.
Okay.
Um, oh, Jesus Christ. What musically it is it's described it's called it's like dark Italian art is essentially what
Uh,
it is, right? So there's a big um classical kind of Italian thing to it, like opera sort of theatrical side of stuff, combined
mhm.
with black metal and they mention things like prog influences and stuff like that, but that's like a you can kind of always feel with like well, it's progressive. You can probably pop that in a lot of things, and not, it
True.
wouldn't necessarily like go, oh, that's what I took out of this the most. There's so you're talking orchestras, you're talking choirs, you're talking quite a unique style of music, and actually as an album overall, it's very, very unique. I found it to be. It is dark, as in obviously you don't know what they're saying because he's singing in Italian, and neither of us speak Italian.
Of course.
But he is inspired predominantly around Italian folk horror.
Okay.
So, there's an influence of that across it, whether you get that from it or not. I don't know. And I don't know that I definitely did, but I got the darkness side of it. Now, the reason I wanted to do the first two tracks is that because while I think every single track on this album is phenomenal, I
Mm.
think if you pick a single track out of this album, you don't get this exact range of creativity and variety that comes on the album. So, for example, if I'd have just done track two, you would have heard bits of everything I've just said, but predominantly in one single style.
Mm.
If I picked track four, you would have heard purely a song based around the musical, theatrical, opera style. So trying to find that way of going like, oh, he does all of this stuff and then showing it across a single track is really difficult. So the first track is an opener, it is an intro, of course, so it's shorter. But I think it shows another side to Selvan so that when you also hear the second track alongside it, you can look at it all combined and go, wow, okay, there's a lot going on here. There you go.
Or just putting this out here, you could be less awkward about what videos you choose for reactions and just do actual normal songs that are like 4 minutes long, have a verse and a chorus, and you get the whole fucking package instead of, oh, now we have to do a quarter. We have to do one quarter of the album here.
Well, to be fair, I didn't write it, so it's hardly my fault.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, I'm intrigued anyway, and that's cool. The cover, your description, your investment in it, enthusiasm for it is infectious. So let's do this in three, two, one, go. Oh, that's it.
It. On to the next
Oh,
stream.
I missed the gap. It's only because I seen number three came up because we're listening for our full album stream. So it's
Mm.
kind of trying to pay attention to that. Fuck me, I thought it was never going to end.
Oh,
Oh,
it's awesome.
right, okay, right. Like, that is such a big word to use. Awesome. I've got a lot of thoughts about it, a lot of opinions. None of them relate to awesome.
Uh,
Not at all.
yeah, but you're
And it's not
broken
that
now, man.
it's not broken. You
You
can't
said at
do
the
that
beginning of the
every time.
video, 3 minute long post songs.
No. Yeah, but like a 3 minute long post song. I'm not. I mean, I'm not gonna slam the song. Like, that's not what I mean by that. But yeah, I gotta say straight away, awesome. Not even close to my opinion on this track. There are awesome moments. Yeah, there are elements I think are exciting, intriguing, and unique. And then there are fucking moments that are absolutely infuriating. Dare I say, almost nonsensical. I wrote here at one point, "Is he drunk? Is he fucking drunk?" Because that's what he must have been, high or drunk at times. Because I get the progressive element that people will attach to that. Because particularly at the start, there's this flurry of, it reminded me of like old school Crimson King style nonsense to a certain degree, like to a level where it just feels like, oh, okay, this is weird and wacky and it's designed because it's got that old school heavy metal tinge all the way through it, of course, with a mix of different genre styles in it. You know, early on, you might think, oh, that sounds a bit black, but it kind of like lays down a bit. And then early on, he only really does it at the start. He hits one of those old, like King Diamond vocal highs, not quite as high as that, but at the start, I was like, oh, that's interesting. If he's going to do that for the rest of the song, but he doesn't really. Okay, so I'm going to go step by step by step. Dramatic intro, very cinematic, gets very epic, very, very cool. And I love the way the guitar comes in. It's a very bombastic, powerful, gets you kind of excited for what's going to come. Really, really does. And the transition into the second track, I'd say it's fairly clean. But like for what it is, considering what it has to turn into. It's done well enough. I already mentioned the high vocal moments. One of the things that surprised me initially, and particularly after that start, was, oh, this is rawer than I expected. It has got this kind of what's called it raw sound to it, raw edge, very old school heavy metal style, and that's not what you get with that intro, because that intro is clean, modern, fucking symphonic, orchestral, whatever, all those words, and then you kind of have this real thing. But I didn't dislike it. I've got no issue with that, and I certainly like the idea of, oh, okay, that's the two sides to the sort of artist where you have got that cleaner, more epic, grandiose style, but here is a more like laid back, older, rawer sound. Like I said, to me, it's predominantly, if I was to sum that up, like people say, what genre is that? I'd say, look, it's heavy metal. It's what you want to call heavy metal at its core. That's what I think of when I hear it, but with just some twists on the formula here and there. Nobody stays in one genre. We've discussed this before. Early on, he throws out some fucking theatrical parts, elements that I'm so on the fence about. A part of me is like, hey, that gives it a unique touch, and I'm talking about sort of like the mad organ moments, the laughing. Like it's just like, okay, it's a little bit of theatrics, and I like it, but also I really don't, and I can't quite decide on that. I think I'd have to hear more of that or more in context to sort of cite an opinion there. Overall, the biggest issue I've got with it is that I think it's too long. I think it repeats itself a little bit too much in the latter half. And it's like, ah, man, if this was like maybe a minute or two shorter, a little bit tighter, and then we rolled into another one and that and stuff like that, I don't know, maybe it would have stuck a little bit more with me. It starts to sound a bit repetitive, particularly from the drumming side of things. I really noticed at times, okay, the drum is just doing that same over and over again. And at times you've got that ringing guitar, which is the pacey part of it. That's where those theatrics do come into play for me because they were breaking that up and giving a little bit more flair here and there. It's one of those where it's like it's so intriguing enough. It's like it's more than enough like intrigue about it to make you want to hear more because it almost doesn't sound like real. And it's one of those where it's like, oh, this like based on what I'm hearing here, I'm like, this is a 10 out of 10 to you because I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm like, clearly I'm missing something here, and it's probably the context of the whole album, I imagine. Not to say that this track is like not a good summation of what I can expect. I can't imagine the next one or what follows afterwards is wildly different to the point where it would make this track feel weird or pointless, because I don't think you would have chosen it, regardless of the intro, if that was the case. But definitely feels that I'm not quite connecting with this the way you clearly did.
Yeah, I mean that pretty much sums it up. I mean, not arguing for the sake of arguing, but like
Mm,
obviously I completely disagree with everything you say,
of
naturally.
course,
Um,
including the
the
parts where I said I liked it.
yeah, because I loved it.
Very good.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm always reluctant to sort of go, oh, somebody's missed the point with it because that's not really how it works, right? You get what you get out of it. And yeah, of course, I've listened to the whole album, and of course that impacts on it to a degree. But I felt and still feel that playing the two tracks at the beginning gives enough of a kind of clue as to what's going on across the rest of the album. In that, yes, there are other songs that do things differently, like I mentioned before. But I think it's more the kind of concept of it. I think that maybe I kind of bought into more. So,
Mm,
and that's why things like say the laughter and bits and pieces like that, the theatrical side of things, like for me, absolutely enhances the song because of what there is. And I mean, it's the way that I see it in my head is essentially like the album cover. Yeah,
yeah.
there's organs. It's a huge theatrical operatic performance. You imagine it in an Italian kind of old school theater and
Mm,
him on stage like that mad kind of cloaked conductor,
yeah.
at the front of that album cover and it being like a performance,
Hmm.
as much as anything else. And I think sometimes, and again, certainly not meant to be an insult or anything like that, we like a lot of the same music, but we also look for different things in our music sometimes.
True.
And for me, I would say, not just at the moment, but for a period of time now, I kind of want and need to be challenged by people doing something different, not
Mm,
just 3, 4 minutes of the same stuff that I've heard for 44 years of my life. I like that sometimes, but I like people that challenge me and that have ideas and throw something out there that mixes it up and makes people go, "What the fuck?" I remember that the first band that came to my mind when I listened to these originally actually was Hell.
okay.
In
Yeah.
some of the way that he kind of delivers this almost like a sermon sort of thing, but whereas Hell are obviously doing it from the sermon perspective, and this was more like leading I don't know what you call them, it's not a choir or you know what I mean, like, but whatever your performers are behind you, I don't know whatever you'd call that,
Yeah.
the lead character on a stage or something like that. But
Hmm.
so for me, yeah, I mean, I think this is a small band, doing something a little bit different, um, and not for much longer. This was this if I read everything correctly, I believe is the third part of a trilogy, which was all it was ever meant to be.
Right.
um, and an
So that'll be
exploration
it.
of the dark Italian arts and Italian folk horror. And I kind of feel like when I listen to that, the kind of madness of it, the art side of it, the organs and everything, that's what I got from it.
I do think, I do think listening to the full album does change that though, because it's easier to get like the investment comes more when you listen to the full album based off that one track. I know it's extensive track and stuff like that. The only thing that I would question about that is you say about challenging, but I'm like, what other than the theatrical side of it, like what else was I don't see that challenge aside from the theatrical side of things, and that's an intriguing idea and
But
certainly is something worth exploring. But beyond that, all
challenge
I'm hearing
doesn't
is
mean
a sort of
complex, does it? That's the
no,
thing.
it
Like,
doesn't. It
it
doesn't.
can mean
True.
different things. So, like, in the same way that, you could listen to, or I could listen to, I don't know. Oh, I mean, we do this on a lot of different like topics, like
Hmm.
Melodeath, for example, which
Yeah.
I find, as you know, is my favorite genre of music because I think it's expansive and I think they play around with heaviness and melody and combining those two contrasts better than most other genres. Something
Okay.
that you don't necessarily agree. So I wouldn't say that
Mm.
I find Melodeath challenging.
Hmm.
So for me, challenging isn't challenging as in, oh, you're playing something really complex here that's never been done before. It's something that's making me have to pay attention to it more so than I do standard things. It's challenging me and my
Mm.
conception of what I see as heavy metal,
Mm.
you know?
And they've done an incredible job to make you feel that way, and that is always a positive. We said this in all videos. No part of me, just like there's no part of you, is ever ever happy that we're not getting it. E.g.,
Mm.
I'm not getting what you're getting out of it. I would ideally love to get that as well. I'm not quite getting that. I admire elements of that, and it certainly is an intriguing thing, and the sort of thing I won't forget anytime soon, which I think is a positive. But yeah, ideally, it would be the most boring reaction video reviews either, because you'd be like, I love it. And I'd be like, yeah, I love it too. And that would be the end of it, you know? But that isn't always going to be the case, and certainly not here. But that is the point of these choices as well, when you choose something you decide you want to show to me. So it's very,
Yeah.
very interesting. But then that's what other people's opinions are for as well, I'd imagine. I'd be intrigued to sort of see what if we had a wealth of like people commenting and saying, oh, I think this, I think that, you know?
Yeah, it'd be interesting as well. I think for anyone who does watch our channel, I think if people want to start keeping count now, this will be, I think I was working it out the other day, 7 in a row songs where I put one forward and you've just liked it. So
I mean, no, but
no,
that's
no,
not
no, no,
actually
but
true. 'Cause
no, that's interesting though. I'm sorry, yeah, that doesn't work actually because they don't get posted in the same order that we record, obviously. So yeah, ignore that count. If anyone
it's your
counts back
count
and
in
goes, that's wrong.
your count in your mental head where you're deciding to create this scenario where I'm just waiting for you to bloody do a song until I
It's
then say
become
I hate
quite
it.
it's become quite a fun challenge now. It's like I'm just going to keep putting songs up that, and I'm like, oh, he's going to hate this one too. Have that.
Stop putting good songs up then, innit?
I will find a 3 minute long Doom song for you. Jesus Christ.
They don't exist. 3 minute long Doom song. um, Selvans from the album Saturnalia. I'm going to go now. Necromilieu and Il Mio Maleficio Vin Calzaria, maybe. Those are the two tracks we did, but probably the second one is the more significant one to pay attention to there of what we were talking about here, because the first was an intro and it was just very, very cool. But either way, a unique artist and band to probably look into. No doubt many people out there like me and others just aren't really aware of this thing existing. So maybe check it out on that basis and see if it connects with you in a way it did with Brendan, and let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.